I'm Patrick in Vancouver. Today is April 24th, 2026. Here's what's wrapping up the week in Tesla land. Tesla patented a lane language model that predicts road geometry like a chatbot predicts the next word. Elon confirmed that Tesla has started production of its self-driving cybercab robotaxi. This takes the vehicle from concept stage to actual physical vehicles being built. It represents a potential shift for Tesla's business from one-time vehicle sales toward ongoing mobility-as-a-service revenue streams. The move assumes regulatory and operational pieces fall into place. Success will still depend on proving safety at scale and winning over skeptics. The real test ahead is how quickly Tesla can ramp this production while making the safety case clear. Of course, the brains behind that robotaxi are just as important as the metal. A new patent gives us a window into how Tesla is rethinking self-driving from the ground up. Traditional self-driving systems struggle when lane lines disappear at intersections or merges. The new patent uses an autoregressive decoder that treats the road like a language. It predicts the next logical geometric point while cross-checking against live sensor data and past predictions. This keeps the planned path smooth and legal, even in tricky spots. The approach reduces dependence on rigid high-definition maps. That could prove especially valuable in cities where road layouts change constantly. It feels like an elegant pivot away from pixel-by-pixel segmentation toward something more fluid and adaptive. This patent is such a clean example of first principles thinking that we're going to spend a few minutes on it. A lot of people still assume self-driving cars need perfect pre-drawn maps of every road. Tesla's latest patent work shows the system can generate plausible lane geometry on the fly. It does this by treating the physical world like predictable tokens in a sequence. When markings vanish, the system merges fleet-learned patterns, live sensors, and basic navigation. Instead of broken lines, it outputs smooth spline curves. This reduces the need for massive stored maps and lets the car adapt instantly to changes. The fundamental question is at what point predicting the next logical piece of road geometry becomes more reliable than trying to sense and segment every visible pixel. Tesla's method breaks the problem down to fundamentals by collecting vast real-world examples through the fleet. It trains neural nets to output the most probable continuation of a road, then verifies against physics and prior predictions. This could let robotaxis operate in more places sooner without waiting for universal, high-definition maps. It shifts the competitive edge toward companies with the most driving data and the simplest stack that still delivers safe, usable behavior. Beautiful as that tech is, on paper regulators in Washington don't seem to be in any rush to let it loose. Tesla continues to pull ahead on real-world self-driving data. At the same time, regulators appear to be slowing the company down. The tension between rapid progress and slow rulemaking will likely set the precedent for the entire industry. Thoughtful observers are questioning whether the current level of caution matches the safety data Tesla is accumulating. How Washington handles Tesla could shape the rules that every other player has to follow. It is a fascinating moment where innovation speed collides with institutional pace. While we're on the topic of what it actually takes to build this company, there's a raw reminder from Elon. He described living in the Fremont and Nevada factories for 3 years, sleeping on the floor. The idea was so the team could see he wasn't asking for sacrifices from some corner office. He pushed everyone into what he called ultra-hardcore mode while taking on more pain himself. Elon said the period from 2017 to 2019 was the most excruciating of his life, yet necessary to keep Tesla alive. That experience left him believing he now knows more about manufacturing than anyone alive. It is not just war story stuff. That intensity got baked into the company's culture and explains why Tesla's production knowledge runs so deep today. That same intensity around accountability shows up in how the board is structuring his latest compensation package. The implementation agreement requires that activating the reinstated 2018 performance package means immediately forfeiting the entire 96 million share 2025 interim award. This prevents any extra cost or dilution for Tesla. It still ties rewards to hitting tough milestones. From a governance standpoint, it is a straightforward way to keep incentives aligned without messy overlaps. Whether you like the size of these packages or not, this structure at least tries to avoid double dipping. On a lighter product note, something owners have been waiting for is finally heading to cars this summer. Tesla will start customer deliveries of its optional augmented reality head-up display this summer. More photos show how navigation and alerts project cleanly in the driver's forward view. This builds on the existing screen-heavy interface by adding a layer that does not require looking down. For owners, it could make driving feel more natural and less distracting. It is a relatively small feature, but the kind of polish that keeps the product feeling current and well cared for. While we're talking about the in-car experience, Tesla put out a couple of interesting posts about how they're training FSD. The company stated that its full self-driving system is trained to be superhuman. The goal is framed as exceeding average human performance in both safety and capability. A separate post called FSD, the smoothest driver you will ever meet. That emphasis on ride comfort and fluid motion goes beyond simply avoiding accidents. It highlights the dual focus on safety metrics and everyday pleasantness that will determine real adoption. Customers paying attention will see this as a signal that Tesla is not settling for merely human-level driving. The gap between the claim and what people experience in supervised mode remains the real-world test. Of course, the real world is messier, which brings us to what some owners are discovering while testing the latest version. Owners testing the phone distraction detection in version 14.3.2 find it hard to trigger the alert. The natural reaction is to look back up at the road before the system fully registers the distraction. It makes running a proper test surprisingly difficult. This shows how sensitive the monitoring has become and the tight balance between catching real distraction and feeling overly intrusive. Tesla is clearly iterating here with real-world owner feedback. These experiments highlight the human side of getting driver monitoring right, and the company seems positioned to refine it further with more data. Speaking of real-world feedback, the competitive heat is not letting up, especially in China. BYD revealed the third-generation Atto 3 with up to 630 kilometers range. It also offers 326 horsepower flash charging from 10 to 97% in 9 minutes and a LiDAR-based assisted driving system. The updated design, larger dimensions, and even a built-in refrigerator show how aggressively competitors are moving. For Tesla, this is a useful reminder that the global EV market, particularly in China, is not standing still. It keeps the pressure on to deliver better value and technology in the compact SUV space. Finally, a more everyday story that actually affects a lot of current and future owners. A fresh look at the used Model Y market examines how resale values, buyer expectations, and long-term ownership realities are shifting. Strong resale continues to improve the effective cost of buying new, which matters for Tesla's overall appeal. It also gives potential buyers real data on battery health and software updates over time. Practical details like these often affect everyday customers more than the big headlines do. As more of these vehicles hit the secondhand market, the ecosystem around them keeps maturing. Before we go, keep an eye on how the robo-taxi production news develops over the weekend. Any early photos or regulatory reactions could set the tone for next week. On the lighter side of X today, the memes around Jim Cramer's buy recommendation were in full swing. The running joke that his endorsement might be the opposite of helpful still has plenty of traction. Sawyer Merritt's thread declaring the robots are here and Autobots rollout captured a genuine wave of excitement about the hardware milestones ahead. And it was refreshing to see a detailed Reddit post from a happy BYD Atto 3 owner calmly pushing back against the recycled myths on range charging and batteries. That kind of honest ownership story cuts through the noise nicely. That's your Tesla news for today. TSLA closed at $373.72, up 54 cents, 0.1%. If you found this useful, a rating or review on Apple Podcasts or Spotify really helps new listeners find the show. You can also find us on X at Tesla Shorts Time. I'm Patrick in Vancouver. Thanks for listening, and I'll see you tomorrow. This podcast is curated by Patrick, but generated using AI voice synthesis of my voice using ElevenLabs. The primary reason to do this is I unfortunately don't have the time to be consistent with generating all the content and wanted to focus on creating consistent and regular episodes for all the themes that I enjoy, and I hope others do as well.